Akil, I'm making you the presenter. I'm passing you the ball. Looking forward to hearing your voice and seeing your screen. It's been a long time, buddy. Five, four, three, two, one. Waiting to hear you.
You hear my voice?
I hear you. See, right on cue. And
Perfect.
There's also a screen share option for you.
I have no idea
brother.
what screen is showing, so I'm going to click one. Oh, look at that. It kind of tells me. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, man.
Cars, women, sports. I like that.
All right. Well, listen, Akil, it has to have been at least a few years or so since you and I have had a conversation.
Yeah.
How have you been, buddy? It's great to hear your voice again.
I've been good. I can't complain at all. I get to wake up every morning and do something that I'm very passionate about as far as trading and helping other traders as well. And, you know, I love the markets. I always feel like it's a puzzle that you'll never solve completely. We'll never quite get the answer. But we come back each and every day and we try as hard as we can to chase that carrot that's in front of our face. And then that's, you know, that's motivating to me. Yeah,
it's also great prevention against dementia because don't you think? I mean, you know, older people do these brain exercises. I don't think there's anything more strenuous than screening FX trades, managing risk, looking for formation signals, and you're very good at it, Akil. I did notice that you're on an exodus again. That maybe you could refresh my memory about the beginning of your journey. But just like many of us, looks like you've moved on. And I want to talk about what you're doing now. But maybe you could just give our viewers a little bit about your background and how you got started, and then we could talk some markets and your new venture.
Sure, no problem. And first and foremost, appreciate you guys coming here to listen to me talk. Obviously, you guys are here because of Dale, but it's still, it's still it's strange to actually have traders that are listening to you. In my mind, I feel I know I've been trading for what, 10 years now, but in my mind, I still feel like I'm a novice in the market because every day I'm just trying to learn something new.
Great attitude.
But I started off like everyone else. I didn't go to school for finance or anything like that. In fact, funny story, I switched my major in college because I was failing out of my economics classes. I couldn't get micro or macroeconomics, and switched majors because of that. And lo and behold, now I'm working in a field where that's what revolves around me. But I first got started in the stock market. I had graduated college right around the time the recession had started here in the US. So I was one of those lucky individuals that graduated, had an expensive piece of paper telling me that I did something good and couldn't get a job.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Because I did the same thing 30 years before you did.
See?
Came out of school with, that was the mid-'70s recession. Your recession was, the Great Recession. Do you know why they call it? Why did they call it great? Was it great for you? Anyway, it was deeper than the mid-'70s. So, yeah, that was a very tough time to come out of school and look for employment.
Yeah, it was difficult. I could not find anything, really anything in my field. I'm actually kind of blessed. I ended up working with children that had mental and behavioral health issues, so like Asperger's and autism.
Wow.
And very beneficial time in my life just for understanding different people and different issues that are out there. But as I look back on it, I think that's where I got my patience from in trading. I'm a very patient trader. I typically I don't really get too emotional in the markets, and that's typically what kills a lot of traders when they get fear and greed and all those emotions. I typically don't have that because of my years dealing with these children. You have to stay kind of neutral. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. You have to be that steady face for them. So that has helped. But
Yeah, go ahead.
I got into the stock market originally because my dad was like, my dad always taught me about investing, and we started off small, just like piggy bank to savings account to certificate of deposit to money market. And by the time I graduated college, he was like, I'm like, well, what's the next step? He said, well, investing is the next step. So, he says, I asked him, well, how do you invest? How do you do all this stuff? And I just buy something, So the first stock that I actually bought was Apple. And then this was well before the 2013 split? I forgot what it was, but bought Apple at about $99, first stock ever. Didn't know much about it, but I knew that they had a good reputation. They had this thing called the iPhone coming out, and I said, okay, well, that makes sense. And just bought it on common knowledge like that, and obviously did pretty well. Sold it way too soon. I don't want to admit what I sold it at, but I didn't know any better back then. So it was like, hey, I doubled my money. Let's get rid of it. And I just really started in the stock market that way, just doing stuff I knew. I tried to act like I was reading reports, and I had an office I rented out with 2 TVs and CNBC and Bloomberg and magazines, but most of that stuff was just for show. I was just doing what I thought your typical Wall Street person, your trader, was supposed to do. And obviously now I realize all that stuff isn't necessary. But I hooked up with a mentor. It was a local millionaire, actually. He made a lot of money in real estate, and I went under his wing to learn about the stock market. And when I say that, I basically, for the entire summer while I was unemployed, I just went to his office and shadowed him. Didn't ask for any money, didn't really ask for anything in return. I just sat there. I watched him. I asked questions. I listened to people he talked to, and just kind of wanted to soak in everything I could. And I had some pretty decent success in the stock market. However, I didn't have enough money to actively make money. I was making money, but it was longer term investments, and it wasn't enough to make it a full-time career.
And no leverage.
Yeah, exactly. No leverage. So, once I had a few positions on, I couldn't really do anything else unless I sold one and then opened up more money. And it was just like, these things were taking years to get their returns. That doesn't pay the bills.
I hear you.
So it was at that point where a friend of mine, one of my best friends, he told me about the Forex market. And, I'm a little shameful to admit this, but like everyone else, I was intrigued by the fact that it was highly leveraged and that I can make a lot of money with a little bit of money, and I can make a massive amount of money fairly quickly, because that's what the internet often tells you, right? Make $1 million in a year or so. So I got into the Forex market, started learning about technical analysis, and long story short, I blew a lot of money really, really fast. So the exact opposite of what I was told. Don't get me wrong, I was a demo account king. On a demo account, I could not lose to save my life on a demo account. But every time I went live, I don't know what changed, but I would blow a massive amount of money.
Your psychology. Money.
Yep. That's what it was. Okay. As soon as it was real, it changed.
Yeah. I tell people demos are kind of like in the old days, it was paper trading, and I would say, well, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen to you when you're paper trading? And they go, what? I say, you get a paper cut. So, I always advise people that there's a medium step to take between demo and live, and that's micro. Because, you can't get buried, and you have money on the line. So it's kind of like a nice baby step before you really leverage yourself.
I agree 100%. I forgot what book I read this in. There's so many books out there, but I remember reading one trading book, and it was like, you should be trading so small, especially at first. You should be trading so small that no loss makes you upset and no win makes you happy. Meaning, if you lose, like you said, you lose some money in a micro account, you lost a little bit, it's not going to sink your account. You win some money, it's not going to change your life. And
right.
I agree, that's a great way to get started.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for that, Akil. We're looking at the euro, and it kind of ties in with the fact that I know that you were with Jason Stapleton, Trade Empowered for many years, and I went to your new YouTube page. What's interesting to me is here you were learning about harmonic work for all these years, and I don't see a harmonic pattern here. Doesn't look like you're using harmonics, bro. I mean, that your charts look like mine. So,
Well,
I mean, and you've seen people try and use harmonics for a long time. Am I reading anything into it that, or it's just your personality, more, what do we call the kind of conventional technical analysis works better for you because it's simpler?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a little bit of both. They're actually, I've got two harmonic patterns here. I don't have them drawn on, but they're hidden. I'm actually involved in one right now.
Okay.
And I'll draw one. One is going to be, there's a bat pattern right here.
Okay.
That I just got involved in after. I give about 15 minutes after the non-farms release, just to, it bounces one way, it moves another way, just to get all the junk out the way and end up doing what it normally did. There's a bat pattern right here that I'm involved in now. And if we would have seen, we saw an initial dollar weakness to begin with. If we would have broken through this level, we actually would have had a cipher formation as well. So in this case, I actually do have two harmonic patterns that I'm looking at, but in general, you're 100% right. I still use harmonics. I still use pattern formations as a part of my everyday trading. However, I've kind of taken a step backwards in my trading, and I'll tell you why. When I first started trading, and I believe this with traders, when you first start trading, you want to have it's easier for a trader to find success if they have a rules-based strategy. I believe 100% in rules-based strategies. I teach something called the if-then thought process, where basically you go through your mental checklist as if you were a robot. If this, then that. If this, then that. Yeah, and advanced pattern formations for me, again, I struggled for so long in trading, mainly because of psychology. So when I first really got involved in trading, I needed something extremely strict. So very little gray area, something black and white. If the market does this, then I look for that. If the market does this, then I look for that. And that was the only thing that really kept me on track with my trading. It didn't allow my mind to wander. It didn't allow me to, there's so much subjectivity, there's so much discretion in the market, and I wanted to avoid that as a newer trader. Now, as I got involved in the market, and I always believe that after you learn to trade, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this as well, Dale, but after you learn to trade, I think there's like another 2-year learning period. It's kind of similar to learning how to drive a car. You can learn how to drive a car, you can take your driver's test and get your license and technically be allowed on the road. But we both know that when you're actually on the road and in real life with the other crazies out there, it's a little bit different than just learning in an empty parking lot.
Yeah, that's a great metaphor. Yeah, I think you're right. I always ask people, once they become, they can make a living off the market, it's not a hobby or a second job or whatever application. Most people say about at least 4 years to make breakthroughs to where they feel that they've been able to have that epiphany, and that probably includes knowing how to trade. That happens in the first couple years, and then learning to master your emotions and be disciplined out there when the heat is on.
Yeah, I agree. I remember Mark Douglas, I think it was Mark Douglas.
In the zone.
Who talked about the 4 stages of trading, and the first, I always get these messed up, but the first is called unconscious incompetence, where you come into the market and you're like a baby. You don't know any better. Babies don't know what is good, what's bad. They don't know if they touch the hot stove, it's going to burn them. Same thing like with us in the market. We come in, it's like, ooh, shiny red thing, shiny green thing, let's just play around. And then eventually we learn valuable lessons from our mistakes, and we go into the stage which is conscious incompetence, where we kind of realize that maybe we don't know as much as we thought we knew. We kind of have more of a respect for the market, that, hey, I actually have to have a strategy, a technique, a process for trading this. And then traders move into the 3rd stage, which is going to be I think it's conscious incompetence, where I think this is where many traders get stuck, where they have an idea on what they need to do, what they're supposed to do. But like you mentioned earlier, those psychological battles, the greed, the fear, the need to trade, the fear of missing out, all of that kind of stands in the way from us doing what we're supposed to do. And then finally, after, like you said, that 2 to 5 year period where you've been in the market, you've kind of mastered your style of trading, you finally reach a level, or you hope to reach a level, which is called unconscious competence, where you're basically running on autopilot, where it's like, hey, you know exactly what you're looking for, you know exactly how to take it, you know where entry, stops, target goes. You're kind of just, it's like us driving now, where we no longer think about pushing the gas or putting the turn signal on. We just kind of do it automatically. And I think that's the part that all traders, that's the level that all traders strive to get to, I think, or at least they should.
Yeah, they do. And even once you're there, because let's face it, just like doctors, lawyers, doctors have great days in surgery. There's malpractice, even though they've been doing it for 20 years, because they had an off day, they didn't get enough sleep. I really advise people that if their life is in flux, or physically they're not feeling well and they're not sleeping, that they shouldn't trade. That, really you have to be in at least mentally a peak performing state to trade. Yes. And if you're sick, you're not in your peak performing state. So it's okay to not be in the market. And, that's something else that takes a long time to learn, that it's okay to be out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And especially if you're under duress in any way. You don't need to add to it. So that's just, another philosophy I have. So let's get back to this Euro, bro. I'm interested because I think there's still another charge left to the upside in Euro. And I've been looking at this. I guess the question is, after last year, Akil, and I'm going to ask you to get a little bit Nostra Stokes here with me a little bit, because we're coming to the end of the year. And so just like at the end of the week, you update your weeklies, and end of the month, your monthlies. At the end of the year, I start thinking ahead as to, what happened this year, and well, should I be looking for a continuation, or what's my bias going into 2018? So I see some patterns here on the Euro that could play out, but they all look constructive to me. Am I reading it correctly?
Yeah, I'm really in a neutral phase here, and real quick, just to follow up on the conversation we had last, I've kind of gone back to the classics. The more time I trade, the simpler my trading gets. So I've really enjoyed going back to the classics of breaking down a price chart with simple classic charting formations. I'll show you one that's on here, but even stuff like looking at individual candles and creating a story for each candle. And I've really fallen in love with going back to that bare bones type of analysis versus the harmonic patterns. Again, I still use them, but I'm going back to just simple pullback trades.
In the Forrest Gump way of looking at markets. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Exactly. I'm in love with that. But the Euro, it's you know what? I'm in a neutral phase here on the Euro. I'll show you what I was thinking. Basically, this was the end of the summer, and recently that idea has been just poo-pooed away. But we had seen Euro's an interesting area, because we've broken previous structure resistance, right? We were in consolidation in this little junky area for the better part of 2 years. We finally broke out of that, and we rallied right up to, you can see, previous structure support, which is now acting as resistance. So we were really in an area where I was looking for the market to tell me what is the next move. And I kind of use a 4-point process in my trading called IPDE, where identify, predict, decide, execute. I identify what the market is doing, what the market has done. That allows me to make a prediction on what I think the market is going to do next and how the market is likely going to do it. once I have that prediction, then I go down and decide how I want to get involved, and then eventually execute the trade. But we had come up past this previous level of resistance, and you can see this is my RSI indicator down here, guys, the relative strength index.
No, I renamed it.
Uh-oh.
To the real simple implicator.
There we go. The real simple implicator.
Because of what it implies. All right, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm thinking, you know, the way I look at it, you see that RSI reading at the top, at the end of the rally, over, you know, back in July in the summer when we were making highs. This year.
Oh, this year. I'm sorry. Yeah, right here.
Up there. See the reading in the 80s? There you go. Markets rarely peak with that kind of momentum. That's my thesis. You know, normally if you're going to get a big break, and most reversals happen with a few divergences under 70, but that keeps me constructive, that RSI reading.
Yeah.
Does it mean anything to you since you use it, RSI?
I use the RSI to complement, so and I think it should be the case for every indicator, because indicators in general are lagging. Right. So I'm like you. I look at price first, and then I look at the RSI to see, hey, is there any divergence? Do you have a bullish divergence, a bearish divergence? You know, hidden divergence, any of that stuff. Okay. And when we came up here, I was actually looking for some type of relief. I thought we'd see we had a head and shoulders pattern form, and I'll draw it out for you real quick. And I got, this is going to be a move I got skunked on. So for you guys that don't know,
the false breakdown.
Yep. For you guys that are new to me, I'm not just a trader that shows you the good. I'm like Dale. I showed you reality. But we had a head and shoulders right up here, a little triple head action right here, and this is a classic reversal pattern. And what I was waiting for was a break and close below this neckline. You can see that price action gave it to us. And I was looking for a simple pullback trade. I was waiting for the pullback to this area, an opportunity to get short in the market, stops right above our right shoulder here, and look for an opportunity to at least come down and retest our previous structure lows here. You can see a pretty decent risk reward. Unfortunately, you can also see that the market kind of, you know, it got me, which happens. It did take me out of the trade, and well, the higher high, higher close above this shoulder just puts me back in that neutral territory where I see nothing on the chart right now that says we're going to continue higher. Obviously, we can come and test our this consolidation level up here, but I see nothing on the chart.
Now that I look at it, I see nothing in the chart. Period. It's just a range.
Exactly, right? And that's what has me looking for advanced pattern formations. Typically when the market is in consolidation, when it's doing that sloppy, disgusting, chopping movement where it's like, ooh, bearish trend, oh no, bullish trend, oh no, bearish trend, that's where you see advanced pattern formations form. And we actually just missed out on one here. This was close. But it was a pattern formation a harmonic pattern, another cipher formation that was right up here at about 119.76s and just missed before rolling over. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what to look for.
You know what? How long did it take you to learn to say I don't know?
I used to be so embarrassed to admit that, especially as a trader, but as an educator, you have all these people looking at you. It's like, well, you're supposed to be the genius. How can you say I don't know? But like you said, that's the truth.
You know, people choke on that, but it's wisdom to say I don't know instead of, you know, your ego taking over and trying to come up with something to make yourself look stupid. So exactly. I don't know is a legitimate answer for me. So
I'll tell you what, real quick. What's important is that it's okay not to know what the market is doing at the moment, because sometimes we're just not going to get a clear signal like this. What's important to know is what you're going to do when the market makes its next move. So we can tell ourselves as traders, right? I like to say we want to be predictive in our analysis, reactive in our execution. Where, okay, well, I don't know what the market's doing right now, but if we come up to this level, then I know how I'm going to take advantage of it. Or if we come down and break these lows, then I know. So although there's nothing happening right now, we're already mentally preparing ourselves for the next move and going through that process. If we do this, then I'm going to attack it this way. And that's what's important as a trader, being 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of the market as far as analysis goes.
You have any high conviction outlooks for 2018?
Not sure. I mean, we've got a new Fed chair coming in. I think obviously we have the rate hike in, what's that, next week already, right?
Yeah, this month.
Yeah, we have the rate hike coming out, I think December 13th, and obviously that's been priced into the market. So I don't expect, aside from, God forbid, a few traders that get suckered into it. I definitely wouldn't try to, when we hike rates here in the U.S., I wouldn't try to jump on that move and assume it's a positive. That's already been priced in. What the market's going to be looking for is, are we still going to have 3 rate hikes in 2018? So they're going to look at the statement and see if there's a dovish tone, a hawkish tone. But I think it's going to be a little bit hard to read, because again, Yellen's her term ends in January. We have a new voice coming in. I think the market's going to wait to see how this guy feels and what his statements are before kind of making any type of decision about, hey, should we be bullish or bearish the dollar, based on potential rate hikes.
I think that's the long answer for, I don't know.
There we go. That's the teacher answer, where we make ourselves see.
Anyway, hey, look, bro, I want you to have a chance to show and tell us about your new business model. If you want to go to your, I don't know if you have a website now, or I saw your YouTube page. So why don't you spend a few minutes talking about what you're doing now? And show
not a lot that I can announce right now, but I've been working with Trade Empowered for 6 years. That's the company that trained me and gave me an opportunity to give back and become a teacher. Right. And this is going to be the final year that I'm working with them. So I'm still teaching until the end of 2017. Obviously, we never want to leave our clients high and dry, but I will still continue to coach in 2018. I've got some really big plans. Again, you'll hear about them when the time is right. But I
mean, thousands of views on a lot of
thank you
videos. That's you're also a great marketeer.
Thank you. I try to be I'm like you. The best thing we can do is just be honest and not try to paint a picture that isn't true.
Yeah, sets you apart. So what do you say to people when they come to you and say, Akil, I have 10K, can I trade for a living? What do you tell them?
I typically give them the hard, honest truth, where I say, no, not by trading 10K. Obviously, it depends on your lifestyle. There's a big difference between someone living in New York City and with a mortgage and 3 kids in private school versus someone that's living at home with their mom and not paying rent. But typically, I say it's not realistic. If you just do the math on what a realistic return is, 10K isn't going to be enough to provide for your lifestyle while continuing to grow your account, unless you're supplementing your income with a business, meaning you're trading your 10K account. But let's say you've gotten to the point where you're really, really good. You've also started a signal service, so now you're bringing in supplemental income from managing money or sharing trading signals or teaching. So in that aspect of
great advice, have more than one revenue stream.
Always, and we always get a bad rap as teachers. We say, hey, you guys just teach because you can't trade, and it's like, no, it's business. We enjoy teaching, we enjoy trading, but when is not having multiple revenue sources a negative? And especially in trading, we go through drawdowns, right? I went through this year, right? All right, so it was around this time this year or last year where it was December. I'm doing my trading review. I'm adding new things. I'm getting all excited about 2018, right? I guess it was 2017 at the time. And you know how it is, a brand new year, fresh start. This is going to be awesome, best year ever. And I started off 2017 with a 17% drawdown, Dale. I got punched right in the face on day one, and it continued for 6 weeks. And now I've been through enough drawdowns that I know I will trade my way out of them. I know that I'll get my head above water and make profit. But for someone who is trading for a living, when you're taking all of your trading income and You need that to provide for your lifestyle. When you don't make money for 6 weeks, where is that money going to come from?
Yeah.
And what type of stress is that going to put on you when you know that, hey, if I don't make profit on this trade, I may not be able to pay my rent? That's tough. Having supplemental income.
Yeah, I have a great title for this interview. What happens when two old pros get together and get real about the business? So, you know, it's been great. It's been great talking to you, Akil.
Thank you.
Whatever and wherever you go, you know, my hope is that pips rain down on you, Akil.
Thank you.
I'm a fan. I root for you, and that 2018 is your best year ever, and not just in financially and pips, but in all ways. So it was great talking to you, my trading warrior brother, Akil Stokes.
Thank you. One last thing I just want to say, I appreciate everything you do, Dale. I have a massive amount of respect for the real educators and coaches out there, meaning that people that genuinely just want to help people, are in the trenches every day like you are, just working with traders, because that's the type of support that makes people better. It's not a magic system. It's not a magic book. It's people like Dale that come in here and every day just try to give you hints and help you make those small little jumps each day. So I appreciate everything you do. I know the group of traders that follow me, they love you. And just you've always been an inspiration to me, and
wow,
you know, I really appreciate that, man.
What a great way to end the week. No, I do have ADD, you know, attention deficit disorder. I never get enough attention. So thank you very much. Thank you, Akil. That was, you know, I'm humbled by it, and it's really nice to know. And Merry Christmas to you and yours, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you.
Let's keep in touch, and if I could help you in any way, once you launch, let me know. I'll get some tweets out there for you. Okay, buddy?
I appreciate it, guys, and thank you guys for listening to me.
All right, Akil. Akil Stokes, everybody. And that's a wrap for F.A.C.E today, guys. And this euro pound looks like it's closing okay. Just something, you know, something I wanted to show you guys before we go. No, not Stellius. Okay, there we go. So, but it's still lower on the week, I believe. But anyway, this was a classic stop hunt, got all the longs out, held 61.8. There'll be opportunities next week. You're going to see me tomorrow. That's right, Eric. All right, for all who celebrated, happy Hanukkah. And may the light of the menorah light up your life, and really looking forward to working with everyone in 2018. And I'll wrap it with, it's gonna be a blue, blue, blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. It's cheap, Isaac. So that's it. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Have a great weekend, everybody. Set up your Christmas tree. I think Steve or Stelios did it about a month ago. All right, you're very welcome, Isaac. Umed, nice to meet you. See everyone Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Sign up to ForexAnalytix. Get ready for 2018. Adios. Thank you, Akil.